There's a fish down there with teeth so long it can't close its mouth. Another one has a stomach that expands to swallow prey twice its size. And one particular shrimp can see colors you didn't even know existed. Welcome to the deep ocean, where evolution stopped caring what you think looks normal and started optimizing for pure survival horror. So why do deep-sea creatures look like they crawled out of your worst nightmare? Keep watching and find out. You've probably seen the photos. The anglerfish with its nightmare-fueled grin. The goblin shark that looks like it lost a fight with a blender. The bear-lift fish with a transparent head that you can literally see through. But here's the thing, most people get wrong. These animals aren't trying to look scary. They're not auditioning for a horror movie. They're solving problems. Really difficult problems. And the solutions? Well, they just happen to look absolutely terrifying to surface dwellers like us. It's a completely different universe, with completely different rules. We need to understand the place they call home. Because sure, there's the ocean. But then there's the deep ocean. And the difference between those two things is like comparing a kiddie pool to the Mariana Trench. Which fun fact we'll get to. Let's start with the basics. The ocean is divided into zones, and each one gets progressively more hostile to life as we know it. The sunlight zone goes down to about 200 meters, or 656 feet. That's where most fish you'd recognize live. Coral reefs, sea turtles, the Instagram-friendly stuff. But below that, things get weird fast. The twilight zone extends from 200 to 1,000 meters down. That's 656 to 3,280 feet. Already we're deeper than the Eiffel Tower is tall. Light barely reaches here. It's dim, like trying to read in a room lit by a single birthday candle. Most of the creatures here have already started developing strange adaptations. Big eyes, bioluminescence. The kind of stuff that makes you go, that's 3,280 to 13,123 feet. No sunlight reaches this depth. Zero. It's been pitch black down here for hundreds of millions of years. The pressure at these depths is about 5,800 pounds per square inch. That's like having an elephant standing on your thumbnail. And the temperature? A cozy 39 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 4 degrees Celsius. Just above freezing. Then we hit the abyss. The abyssal zone stretches from 4,000 meters to 6,000 meters deep. That's 13,123 to 19,685 feet. We're now deeper than Mount McKinley is tall. The pressure here exceeds 8,800 pounds per square inch. Most of the ocean floor lives in this zone. It's a vast, empty plain of sediment, occasionally interrupted by the decomposing carcass of a whale. Yes, that's a thing. We'll get back to it. The Hadal Zone. Named after Hades, the Greek underworld. Because of course it is. This zone includes the ocean trenches, dropping from 6,000 meters down to nearly 11,000 meters in places like the Mariana Trench. That's 36,089 feet, or almost 7 miles straight down. The pressure here reaches 16,000 pounds per square inch. 16,000. That's like having 50 jumbo jets balanced on your head. Now you're probably thinking, nothing could possibly live down there. And you'd be wrong. Because life finds a way. It always does. Even if that way involves looking like something Tim Burton designed during a fever dream. So what exactly makes the deep ocean such a nightmare factory for animal design? Let's count the ways. First up, the complete and total absence of light. No sunlight means no photosynthesis. No photosynthesis means no plants. No plants means no herbivores. And no herbivores means the entire food chain runs on a very simple principle. Eat or be eaten. There's no grazing down here. You're either a predator or you're lunch. But here's the catch. Finding lunch in the deep ocean is like trying to find a specific grain of sand on a beach, while blindfolded. The deep sea is the largest living space on Earth, covering about 65% of the planet's surface. Food is incredibly scarce. Some deep-sea fish might go weeks or even months without encountering a meal. So what's the solution? Well, when you do find food, you need to be able to eat it. All of it. Even if it's bigger than you are. That's why so many deep-sea fish have mouths that look like they could unhinge and swallow a basketball. The gulper eel, for example, has a mouth that's actually larger than its entire body. It looks like a swimming stomach with a tail attached. Nightmare fuel. Absolutely. but also genius engineering for an environment where you can't afford to be picky about portion sizes. Then there's the pressure situation. Remember those 16,000 pounds per square inch we talked about? That's not a typo. At those depths, a styrofoam cup would compress to the size of a thimble. A human body would be crushed instantly. So how do deep-sea creatures survive it? Simple. They don't fight it. Most deep-sea animals don't have air-filled spaces in their bodies. No lungs, no swim bladders. Many are mostly water and soft tissue. Because water doesn't compress, they're basically pressure neutral. So they're fine. It's actually bringing them AUP that causes problems. Fishermen, who accidentally catch deep-sea fish, often find them looking even more disturbing than usual, because the rapid pressure change causes their eyes to bulge out and their stomachs to push through their mouths. Not a good look. But the real challenge: the eternal darkness. And this is where things get properly weird. Because in a world without light, evolution had two options. Option 1. Give up on vision entirely. Option 2. Make your own light. And deep-sea creatures, they went with option 2. Hard. Bioluminescence. The ability to produce light through chemical reactions is everywhere in the deep ocean. About 90% of deep-sea creatures can produce light in some form. That's not a typo either. 90%. It's more common down there than eyes are on land. But they're not using it to see where they're going. Oh no, they're using it for something far more interesting and disturbing. Let's talk about the anglerfish. You've probably seen pictures of this thing. The females are the ones everyone knows. They've got that dangly light hanging in front of their face like the world's most horrifying fishing lure. That light is called an ESCA, and it's filled with bioluminescent bacteria. The anglerfish basically farms glow-in-the-dark microbes on its forehead. The light attracts smaller fish who think they've found food or maybe a friend. Surprise! They found death with teeth. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The male anglerfish looks nothing like the female. He's tiny, maybe 1/10 her size. And when he finds a female, permanently, his circulatory system merges with hers, to completely dependent on her for survival. Over time, his eyes degenerate, his organs dissolve, and he becomes nothing more than a pair of gonads attached to her side. Romance is dead, everyone. The anglerfish killed it. Then there's the viperfish. This thing has teeth so long they don't fit inside its mouth when it closes. The fangs curve backward and actually extend past its eyes. To accommodate this dental nightmare, the viperfish has a skull that can hinge open to almost 90 degrees. It's like if a snake and a piranha had a baby, and that baby was raised on pure rage. The teeth are transparent, by the way, so when it's swimming through the darkness with its bioluminescent lures, prey animals don't even see the massive daggers until it's way too late. Speaking of transparent things, let's talk about the barrel-eye fish, Macropinna microstoma. This fish has a transparent dome on its head. You can see its brain. You can see its eyes. Except here's the weird part. Those dark spots on the front of its face that look like eyes, those aren't eyes. Those are its olfactory organs. Its actual eyes are the green spheres inside its head, pointing straight up. Why? Because the barrel-eye is a thief. It hangs out below siphonophores, these long jellyfish-like creatures that trail stinging tentacles. The siphonophores catch prey in their tentacles, and the barley watches from below, waiting for the perfect moment to dart up, rotate its tubular eyes forward, and steal food from the tentacles. The transparent head protects its sensitive eyes from the stinging cells. It's basically committing robbery while wearing a built-in riot shield. And we haven't even gotten to the truly bizarre stuff yet. Obviously, but the jaw extends back past where you'd expect its body to end. When its mouth is open, it looks less like a fish and more like a windsock with teeth. It drifts through the water with its enormous mouth open, hoping something, anything, swims into it. It's the ocean equivalent of keeping your mouth open while walking through a swarm of bugs. Gross but effective. The dragonfish is another horror show. It produces red bioluminescence, which is almost unheard of in the deep ocean. Why? Because most deep-sea creatures can't see red light. It's evolved to be invisible to its prey. Imagine being hunted by something with a flashlight that only it can see. That's the dragonfish. It also has a beard, a bioluminescent beard hanging from its chin. covered in photophores that flash and pulse. Scientists think it uses this to confuse prey or to communicate with other dragonfish. Either way, it looks like it's competing in an underwater heavy metal contest. Now let's address the teeth situation. Why do so many deep-sea fish have massive, terrifying fangs? The answer is simple. When you finally encounter prey in the deep ocean, you cannot let it escape. You get one shot, maybe one shot per month. So deep-sea predators have evolved teeth that curve backward, sometimes even into their own skull, ensuring that once they bite down, nothing's getting away. The prey would have to tear itself apart to escape. It's not cruel. It's just mathematics. Harsh, nightmare-inducing mathematics. The gulper eel takes this to the extreme. Its stomach can stretch to accommodate prey much larger than itself. It's been photographed with fish twice its size being digested inside its distended belly. Imagine if you could unhinge your jaw and swallow a cow. That's basically what the gulper eel does on the regular. Nature looked at this thing and said, "You know what? Let's make a digestive system that occasionally cosplays as a snake." But not everything down there is a predator. Some deep-sea creatures are scavengers. And this brings us to one of the most important ecosystems in the deep ocean: whale falls. When a whale dies and sinks to the ocean floor, it becomes an oasis of food in a desert of starvation. A single whale carcass can support a complex community of organisms for decades. Decades. First come the mobile scavengers. Burrow into the carcass and eat it from the inside out. A single hagfish can tie itself in a knot to create leverage and tear off chunks of flesh. They also produce enormous amounts of slime when threatened. One hagfish can turn a bucket of water into snot in seconds. They're disgusting and absolutely crucial to deep-sea ecosystems. Then come the zombie worms. Ozdacs, their scientific name. These worms don't have mouths, or stomachs, or anuses. They have root-like structures that burrow into whale bones and secrete acid to dissolve them. They then absorb the nutrients directly through their roots. They're basically plants that eat bones. Female zombie worms can be several centimeters long, while males are microscopic and live inside the female's tubes. Because of course they do. The deep ocean has a type. But here's where it gets truly alien. The pressure and cold of the deep ocean mean that biochemistry works differently down there. Some deep-sea creatures have proteins that would denature and fall apart at surface temperatures. Their cell membranes are more fluid to prevent them from solidifying in the cold. They have specialized enzymes that function under crushing pressure. They're chemically locked into it. Bring them to the surface. And even if you could magically solve the pressure problem, they'd essentially melt at what we consider normal temperatures. The giant isopod is a great example of what scientists call deep-sea gigantism. It's a pill bug. You know those little roly-poly bugs you find under rocks? Now make it the size of a football. That's a giant isopod. It can grow up to 16 inches long. Why so big? The leading theory is that the cold temperatures slow their metabolism so much that they just keep growing. They can survive up to 5 years without food by slowing their bodily functions to a crawl. They're basically the sloths of the ocean floor, except they're armored nightmare insects that could cover your entire face. And let's not forget about the frilled shark, often called a living fossil, because it looks basically identical to sharks from 80 million years ago. It has 300 teeth arranged in 25 rows. It looks like someone lined its mouth with tiny tridents. And it can dislocate its jaw to swallow prey whole, like a snake. It's a shark that acts like a snake that hasn't changed in 80 million years because, presumably, it achieved perfection in the Cretaceous period and decided to coast. The Greenland shark deserves special mention. These things can live for over 400 years, making them the longest-lived vertebrates on Earth. They're also almost blind because they have parasitic copepods attached to their eyeballs. These tiny crustaceans burrow into the cornea and just hang out there. Scientists think the copepods might actually help the shark by attracting prey with their bioluminescence, turning the shark's disability into a lure. Evolution is weird like that. The vampire squid isn't actually a squid. It's not an octopus either. It's something in between. A living relic from an ancient lineage. It has the largest eye-to-body ratio of any animal in the world. Each eye is the size of a dog's eye on a body the size of a football. When threatened, it doesn't spray ink like a normal squid. It sprays a cloud of bioluminescent mucus filled with glowing particles that hang in the water, confusing predators, while it escapes. It's basically a disco ball made of snot. Here's something most people don't realize. The deep ocean is by far the largest living space on Earth. It represents over 90% of the planet's habitable volume. And we've explored less than 5% of it. 5%. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the deepest parts of our own ocean. Every deep-sea expedition discovers new species. Not occasionally, every single one. In 2023, scientists exploring a seamount in the Pacific discovered over 100 new species in a single expedition. 100. In one trip. There's a species of octopus that broods its eggs for over 4 years. The longest known gestation period of any animal. There are fish with antifreeze proteins in their blood. There are worms that live in methane ice. There are bacteria that metabolize hydrogen sulfide from volcanic vents and form the base of entire ecosystems that don't rely on sunlight at all. The deep ocean has taught us that life doesn't need the sun. It doesn't need warmth. It doesn't need oxygen in the quantities we assumed it did. It just needs liquid water, some chemical energy, and time. Lots and lots of time. The creatures down there aren't disturbing because they're alien. They're disturbing because they show us just how flexible the concept of life really is. And here's the thing. These animals don't know they look weird. To them, this is normal. The anglerfish doesn't think its nightmare face is scary. The viperfish doesn't consider its transparent teeth bizarre. We would look strange. Soft-bodied, fragile, full of compressible air spaces. We'd explode like balloons in their world. The deep ocean is the largest museum of evolutionary solutions on Earth. Every bizarre feature, every nightmare adaptation, is an answer to a specific problem. The massive eyes, for catching the faintest trace of bioluminescence. The huge mouths, for maximizing rare feeding opportunities. The bioluminescent lures, for finding prey in total darkness. The transparent heads, the expandable stomachs, the backward curving teeth. All of it makes perfect sense when you understand the environment. So why do deep-sea animals look so disturbing? Because they evolved for a world where the rules are different, where light is currency, where food is scarce, where pressure could crush steel, and where cold slows time itself. They look disturbing to us because we're judging them by surface standards, by our standards. But they're not failures. They're not monsters. They're survivors. Masters of the most extreme environment on Earth. And honestly, that's way cooler than any horror movie could ever be. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the weird world of ocean life, check out our other videos. And hey, subscribe while you're at it. Someone's got to fund these deep-sea expeditions, and it sure isn't the anglerfish.